Our next stop on our walk along the footsteps of history takes us to the river town of Columbia that was settled in 1726. Along with lumber and rail, the main business was transporting goods and people across the mile-and-a-half wide Susquehanna River. With the town's Quaker roots, it became an integral part in the Underground Railroad.
This is an all-secret society, just like the Masons. You know, you do not give up your secrets.
From Havre de Grace, Maryland, runaway slaves followed the Susquehanna to the north. The first towns they would come to were Wrightsville or Columbia. It was there they met with several prominent black men.
Stephen Smith and William Whipper were involved in secretly building boxcars that had false ends into which African Americans fleeing slavery could be hidden in their lumber cars and then shipped off to Philadelphia, where they could get there in about 10 hours.
If families didn't want to leave the area, they didn't have to.
Black people who came here could get employment, and they could stay here if they wanted to and build a family and build a life, or they could earn some money and move on.
As the Civil War raged on, life continued until the Confederate Army made their way to PA with one goal in mind:
Conquer Harrisburg and take the state. That was their main goal. Well, of course, crossing this bridge was a monumental task, being that the Columbia folks were not going to let them.
Confederates crossing this bridge would mean everything the escaped slaves worked for would be lost. The decision was made. The bridge must go. But the first attempt was a failure.
After the explosion happens, smoke clears, bridge is still standing.
Plan B involved oil being poured on the bridge, and as the rebels advanced, one man changed everything.
Jacob Miller flicks his cigar and lights the bridge on fire. So it was that one black man who stood up against the Confederacy to stop them from coming across that bridge.
The aftermath of that resulted in the Confederate troops heading back to Gettysburg and ultimately engaging the Union forces there.
One single moment on this bridge that turned the tide of war, something you'll only hear about as you walk in the footsteps of history. In Columbia, I'm Peter Taraborelli, News 11.